Well, let me start by asking you this. What comes to mind when you hear the word art or creative expression? Could it be painting, drawing, writing, or perhaps music, performances, theater, or orchestral? And most of these physical arts are created behind walls. We as artists, we think, we plan, we perfect. We rehearsed before we express ourselves. And we often judge our creation before it even sees the world. Well, that's all well and good. But art to me, at its core, should be alive, unfiltered, present, and simply capturing the essence of now and a moment in time. Now, what if there's a way we can express ourselves uninhibited, not limited by our skills, our experience, our technique, and not judged by how much time and effort we put in a particular piece of work? Now, today, I'd like to show you something that might change the way you see creativity and art expression. It might even change the way you see yourself. Now, what you're about to see on the screen at your far right in just a minute, it's not created by my hand, but rather my mind and my brain. Not from a conceptualizing and thinking sense, but from a literal sense. So at this point, you might be thinking, really? How? Is it possible? Well, let me explain. Our brain is a pretty amazing piece of machine. It constantly generates and emits brainwaves, just like how our heart generates heartbeats. It is a unique organic signature that represents ourselves. Now, these brainwaves pattern represents and reflects our thoughts, our behavior, our emotions, our feelings, our movement, our presence, and simply ourselves. Now, what if there's a way we can transform and translate all this unique signature about ourselves into a form of art? Well, it turns out we can. And this is how. Now, before you wonder what this funky device is doing on my head, let me assure you, this is not a device that allows humans to communicate with aliens, despite popular beliefs. It's certainly not a props that I stole from a sci-fi movie scene, although it looks pretty cool. What it is, it's an EEG, short for electroencephalography. So it is a brainwave capturing machine. Now, as I'm speaking with you right here, right now, this machine is actively capturing my brainwaves, transferring it into a computer, and transforming it into a digital signal that we'll then use to craft a piece of audiovisual art you'll be seeing on the screen at your far right in just a second. Now, this is happening right here, right now, in this present moment. So let's see what my brain decides to paint today. Now, what you just saw, it's a direct, raw sensory expression directly from my brain into the screen. Now, think of it like playing an instrument and painting at the same time. In this case, without using your hands, but instead using your brain and your mind and simply your presence. So one can think of it as painting with feelings and emotion, not metaphorically, but literally. Now it gets funkier than this, it gets more interesting. Different audio-visual parameters correspond to different brainwave frequencies that I'm currently emitting out from my scalp. For example, if I decided to move or decided to engage in active thoughts, or standing here simply speaking with you, thinking of what to say next, I'm engaging a higher frequency brainwaves, namely beta and gamma. Correspondingly, you'll start to see with just then a more complex audiovisual pattern, a slightly higher pitch, and a slightly faster sound tone. Conversely, if I decide to just calm myself down, take a breath, be silent for a moment, you start to see the graphic becomes slightly simpler, just like so, and a lower and slower sound tone emerging. Just like so. So, what do you think? Pretty cool, to me anyway. It's still going. Looks like I'm not calming myself down very well. The pattern's still going. And what you just witnessed is a product of an amalgamation of my brainwave pattern that is generating and creating this living, breathing piece that you're seeing now. There's no paintbrush, there's no instrument. The only ingredient is my presence. And I call this the full presence expression, a living, breathing artwork created by being and not doing. Now, as you can see, it's not always about practicing longer, trying harder, perfecting every brushstrokes, every scales, every riffs, every runs. But it's simply about being present and let creativity arise naturally. And it also provides a glimpse of what's possible when we stop thinking of creating and simply just let our emotion to flow, our thoughts to linger, our body to move the way it wants to move, and simply just be. And now at this point, you might be thinking, well, that's well and good. One can easily create what you just saw in a second, especially with AI these days, or with a piece of software, or computer for that matter. Why go through such hassle? And what's the purpose behind this, you might ask? Well, why indeed? And let me share this with you. Just hold that thought for a second and let me share this with you. The inspiration behind this work came during my time working with a group of underprivileged children. They're in the group of severe autism, ADHD. They're usually diagnosed with severe motor neuron disorders. They're in the community of vision and hearing impaired, and some were born without arms and legs. Now, they're often excluded from traditional way of creativity and art expression, not because they lack any, but simply because the tools just aren't designed for them. And picture this, a child born without arms trying to grab hold of a crayon in an effort to mimic his brother that is happily tracing his fingerprint and handprint on a piece of paper. Or this, a child diagnosed with motor neuron disorder, simply unable to lift his finger up to pick up a pencil. Or this, a child with severe autism covering his ears, flapping his arm incessantly in a corner, stressing over a piece of artwork he just having issues completing. Now, despite their shortcomings, on a daily basis, I see them express themselves fully, uninhibited, not a care in the world of what others think of them, using gestures, movement, eye contact, and sometimes just silence to get their message across. They try to belong, to connect, to communicate in a world that's unfortunately not designed for them to thrive. So at that moment, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if we can just transform their inner voice, their inner being, their little gestures, their movements, their feelings, their emotion, everything about them into a form of art, a language, an essence that we all shared, loved, and cherished. And that's how this work came to life, a merge between neuroscience and audiovisual art in an effort to showcase their inner being, their inner beauty themselves. And it also provides a symbolic artistic way to showcase their presence, as well as the message they try to get across to the world. Now, more importantly, I think this creates an opportunity for people to see them and to connect with them through a different lens beyond the typical label of neurodivergent versus neurotypical, or body able versus disabled, or blind versus mute, etc. But rather in a more beautiful lens, which is through art and creativity. So in closing, allow me to share with you this. Working with these children and this project has made me realize one thing, which is despite their circumstances and their condition, they do possess one thing that most of us adults has lost sight of a long time ago, which is their inner freedom, their courage, and their essence to express themselves fully on a daily basis, not bounded by what's normal, what's ideal, what's likable, or what's acceptable. They simply just be. And with that, I think they already have the greatest masterpiece that one could ever own. And we all have this piece in all of us, waiting to be heard and seen. And with technology these days, we are not just able to redefine what art is. We are also expanding the very definition of who can be an artist. Therefore, I encourage you to be present, be expressive, and simply just be you. Thank you.